Hello again, everybody. Zach Attack is here with the attack line for Monday, June the 10th, 2013. Alright, let's kick it off with some DJ Zach Attack news. Yes, I got new shirts. Over the weekend, after a lot of my gigs, I made an attack line on Thursday, which included my gig reviews for the 3 shows I did to end my School's Out tour, which were fun shows. The Indian Hills and Hevel Victory Lock-ins were both fun. I think Indian Hills was better than Hevel, because Indian Hills had a better crowd. It was more open, because Hevel was in a cafeteria separated by a wall with the gym. And Almost Rocket Center was good, but then I had 2 other gigs besides those 3. Actually, 3 more gigs. Part of my 6 gig mayhem in 5 days. 2 Wednesday, 1 Thursday, and 1 Friday, 1 Saturday, 1 Sunday. And my 1 gig Friday was my final splash fest of the summer. They're closing down the pool at Willoughby High School for the summer for summer construction. So they're going to, they had the final splash bash last Friday. It was a good splash bash. Better than the one in Maryland by a long shot. The last one we did was horrible. Lack of attendance. So I'm glad that at least we did this one. This is the last one for a while for the summer. Who knows what would have happened if we had to continue on the rest of the year. Rest of the summer. I do apologize for my condition. Just got a little sick yesterday, but I'm feeling a little better than I did yesterday. But bear with me here. So I had that splash bash on Friday. It was a great splash bash as part of my Summer Jubilee 2 tour. I did a wedding. Now this is an informal wedding, because the couple named Jeff and Dina, they got married like a month earlier than one of those destinations wedding. They married out of state. So they had a reception, more like a wedding get-together, at the Huron Point Yacht Club, because the mother of the groom is a member of the yacht club. So they had the reception there. And it was very informal. I played a little mix of music, because there was like a lot of yacht club people there, a lot of young people there. I was trying to find the groove. But once I started playing stuff like In Excess and Never Tear Us Apart and Safety Dance, some of that cheesy 80s, early 80s stuff, like even Hug Like the Wolf one. And this was a wedding. And one informal wedding, it really was an informal wedding when the last song of the night was Hell's Bells by AC/DC. That was requested, so you know it was informal when that was the last song. But it was a great wedding nonetheless. It was not as fun as I thought it was going to be, but still a decent wedding. New stuff kind of worked. Hustle fell flat. Cupid Shuffle did well, but still was a decent wedding. Then Sunday, I was mostly background at the Orion Orchards Festival, Pancake Breakfast in Washington Township. My 5th year doing it. It was cool. I was mostly background, but it was still a good time. You know, I played some good adult contemporary music. I was the soundtrack to the perfect sunshine. It was a perfect day. Unlike today, it's been raining all day. You know, kind of muggy outside, but still, at least yesterday was a great, beautiful day. About 64 degrees, about 68 degrees. A lot hotter than 60, maybe like 75. But still, very good day, pleasant day, good weather for the last day of the festival. I went to the carnival a couple of days, but the weather wasn't good. Saturday and Sunday were the best days weather-wise for the festival. And I was glad I was DJing Sunday, the best day besides Saturday. Good turnout. Can't wait to do it again next year. And got some gigs this week. I have this whole week besides Saturday and Sunday off. Sunday I have off. This upcoming Sunday, the 16th, Father's Day. But I don't have any gigs till Saturday. I had a Saturday, my first appearance at Westview Orchards in Romeo this season, for a medical carnival thing, and then also my first grad party that night, Saturday, for a girl named Caitlin. So can't wait for those gigs on Saturday. Now, let's kick up the entertainment news with, well, the #1 movie. After 2 or 3 weeks of #1, finally, Fast 6 got kicked off by, of all movies, The Purge. Yes, The Purge debuted with a decent $36 million in the box office. First week, not too shabby for a horror movie. So there you go. Congrats to The Purge. You got, of course, The Internship doing okay. About 20 million, but still decent showing for The Internship. Not beating The Purge, no. But decent showing nonetheless. So there you go. Like I said, sorry about my condition. So bear with me through this Atakline. Started feeling ill a little after the On Orchard show. But I feel better than I did yesterday. So, like I said, after that, let's move on with the other entertainment news, specifically technological news involving this little thing. The iPod. Today, Apple had their annual keynote at the World Developers thing they always do every year. Now, they talked about the iMac stuff and MacBook. I don't talk about that because I don't have MacBook. Gotta talk about anything involving this, the iPod. Now, of course, the big rumors concerning today's thing, they're going to reveal two things, which they did. And I watched the keynote from the internet, like it was streaming live on Apple's site. Two things we're going to talk about today. Number one, iOS 7, the new operating system for the iPod and all the iOS systems and iPad and all that. Was said to be the biggest facelift to the operating system since the first iPhone. According to Apple, they revealed it today. The iOS 7 is a completely redesigned with subtle motion, an elegant color palette, and the distinct functional layers that make it feel more alive, like 3D effect when you move it around, it moves to your motion. And I saw the demos and stuff. I kind of got hyped for it. I kind of like the design and a couple new changes. But my favorite is the folders is completely different. Like I said, like 3 separate folders, you can have them all in one thing. That's what I kind of liked about that. And also, new control center with you can push up and it just has everything in your control like all in one thing. They fixed it now. Then they'll go to the notification center. Of course, the swiping on the left on the Safari, new improvements to Safari. And of course, another big thing was AirDrop. And they did drop a little diss onto a certain competitor. The AirDrop is like this. It's this thing where you can share via iPad anybody without having to bump your phones like you do with Galaxy S3. That's kind of a simple diss to Galaxy S3. And new AirPlay stuff. A new redesigned camera with filters like black and white and color filters. And like I said, big change to Safari, full screen browsing. And heck, even Siri is fixed. Even you can Siri voice command what's on Twitter. But of course, besides the iOS 7, the other big thing that Apple was set to reveal today, no new hardware, like no new iPod or anything, may reveal that in the fall, when iPhone 6 may be revealed. But today was all about software updates, specifically iOS 7. And the other big thing they were set to reveal today, which they did, iTunes Radio, or as many Apple people will call it, iRadio, as Apple's answer to digitally streaming radio services like Spotify and Pandora. The ad-supported iTunes Radio, unless you have an iTunes Match subscription for $25, it's ad-free, is a free internet radio service featuring 200 stations, an incredible catalog of music from the iTunes Store, combined with features only iTunes can deliver. iTunes is the best way to discover new music. There are featured stations by Apple, and of course you can create your own station, like Pandora. I know there's a lot of labels. I think Warner Bros. Is signed for that. Sony BMG. So a lot of labels are signing up to this new iTunes Radio, which is free and ad-supported, but unless you have an iTunes Match, it'll be $25 for that subscription. You get it ad-free. Beta for the new iOS 7 launched today for developers, but the full public version, which will be compatible with all the other iPods. Now, I was kind of excited. Like I said, I was watching this keynote on the internet, and I was kind of hyped up on the new features until I found out it wasn't going to be supported on iPod 4th Gen. That sucks. It'll be supported on iPad 2 or later, iPhone 4 and later, iPad mini, and iPod Touch 5th Gen. So maybe they're going to add 4th Gen support later, but as of right now, 4th Gen will not be supporting iOS 7, which I was kind of PO'd. But hey, last year I didn't even have a 4th Gen at the time. I still had a 3rd Gen. When they reviewed iOS 6 last year, I kind of felt out because I started a 3rd gen that didn't support iOS 6. Now I finally have a 4th gen that supports iOS 6. Now I can shift it again with iOS 7 not being supported by iPod 4th gen. So there you go. Apple revealed a lot of software features, software updates, especially with iOS 7 and iTunes Radio, both set to launch in the fall. Now, on with some festival news. Now, the CMA Fest took place in Nashville, but another big festival that took place this year was actually closer to where I live, Michigan. The 2-day Orion Festival taking place on Saturday and Sunday at Belle in Detroit, with of course the headliners Metallica headlining Sunday. But they surprised everybody by appearing on Saturday in an impromptu show on a side stage. There was this band that was listed as the Han, but it turned out to be Metallica in disguise coming in for a surprise set of their classic debut album, Kill 'Em All, from start to finish. Now, last year's Orion, they did both Ride the Lightning and the Black Album in its entirety, but fans knew about those events from the beginning. But Kill 'Em All was a true surprise as they played the entire album from front to back in a surprise set on Saturday before their big headlining set on Saturday, which featured a lot of rarities besides the hits, including songs they haven't done in a while, like I Disappear. But from what I read, the overall feeling of the festival, everybody, including the Metallica boys, had a great time. There's a few little slacks about being a long line for wristbands on Saturday, but that being fixed on Sunday, but mostly, from what I'm reading from various critics and fans, that the experience of Orion, being the second festival and the first one in Detroit, was a pleasant experience, and with the promoters appreciating and loving the location of Belle Isle, with sparking rumors of Belle Isle hosting Orion 3 next year. Metallica said on stage, want to see us back next year? And even Robert DeHilo told press and fans that Metallica's coming back to Belle Isle. So, it turns out that Orion was a big success. My advice to Metallica, if you decide to bring back Orion next year to Belle Isle, I got one piece of advice for you. Actually, 2 pieces of advice. Make it a better weekend when I'm not busy. But more importantly, book better bands! The bands besides the 2 main headliners, Metallica and Saturday's headliner, Chili Peppers. Besides those 2, the rest of the lineup, to me, sucked. The rest of the bands sucked to me, and hopefully they pick better bands for me to go next year. I want to go as long as it's on a good gig day, good weekend. It's not involving my gig schedule, and more importantly, they pick better fucking bands. Besides the bands they did get, like Best Nectar and Deftones and Dropkick Movies, bands I never heard of. So there you go. Despite my quip about the set list, the band list, Orion 2 sounds like a big success for Metallica and its fans. It looks like it's going to be hosted again in Belle Isle next year unless Metallica or the city of Detroit has something to say about it. So there you go. Now, on some other music news, some sad music news involving Def Leppard guitarist Vivian Campbell, who has revealed today that he's been battling for the last few months a form of cancer, Hodgkin's lymphoma. Vivian Campbell released a statement today through Def Leppard's website as Def Leppard prepared for a stint of summer shows following its Las Vegas stint, Viva Hysteria. Speaking of those Las Vegas shows, that's when Vivian found out he had cancer. That, according to him, he had a cough that just wouldn't quit. And then when he finally checked into the doctors on March 11th, he found out that after 7 months of coughing, that the cough was signs of a form of cancer, like I said, Hodgkin's lymphoma. The doctors had prescribed 6 months of chemotherapy for the 50-year-old guitarist. He said in his statement further, I'm about 2 months into chemotherapy and feeling rather spiffy, all things considered. Hodgkin's has an 80% cure rate. So by my reckoning, if you're going to have a cancer, Hodgkin's is the one to get if you want to be free of it. Now, one of my friends died of non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, so it might be a difference between non-Hodgkin's lymphoma and Hodgkin's lymphoma, because my friend died of non-Hodgkin's. So, Vivian will not skip any of the Def Leppard shows, although he is losing hair, as a sign of chemotherapy, because that's what happens when you go through chemotherapy of cancer. You lose hair. He wanted to make a statement so no one would be confused that when Def Leppard went on the wall and the guy that guitars with bald head, people wouldn't be confused and say, "Hey, is Vivian fired?" So he didn't want any rumors to come out. So he just wanted to explain to everybody that he does have cancer, Hodgkin's lymphoma. So best wishes and a speedy recovery to you, Vivian. I've seen Def Leppard twice. They're a great band, and I hope all things are well with Vivian. And like every other thing that's been in Def Leppard's path, whether it's the losing of Rick Allen's arm, the death of Steve Clark, which prompted Vivian to replace him, every bad thing that's happened to Def Leppard, they persevered. And this will be no exception, as Def Leppard will persevere this latest World Black with Vivian Campbell revealing he has a form of cancer. Like I said, best wishes to you. Speedy recovery to you. Now, on the sports news, before I get to my thoughts on tonight's Raw, being the last Raw before Payback, the biggest sports news today, bar none, involves a little man named Tebow, Tim Tebow. Now, last year, he had that terrible season in the New York Jets, which ended up being, like I said, a big disaster area and a big disappointment for him and his fans. If he has any, sorry to say it, but still. So Tim Tebow was a free agent for a while. Now he finally signed on to a new team. The New England Patriots. Why? Maybe there's some underlying reason for why Tebow may be there, but in my opinion, to you, Tim Tebow, hope you enjoyed the bench last season. Hope you enjoyed sitting on the bench last season for the Jets, because that's exactly what we say this year, bench warmer, because you'll never, and I do mean never, will ever replace Tom fucking Brady. Unless Tom Brady gets some sort of injury, Tim Tebow enjoyed the bench. I even saw a post of making fun of it as the Water Boy. Ain't that the truth? Water Boy, bench warmer, safety. That's Tim Tebow's job. Because, come on, why would the Pats, of all teams, hire Tebow when they have one of the best fucking quarterbacks in the NFL? So, like I said, Tebow's going to be a bench warmer again for the Pats. And then he'll get fired again by the end of the next season. And he'll be a free agent again. And the cycle will continue. That's what's going to happen with Tebow. He's just going to go from team to team and then fail miserably. Because he's still, in my mind, a bench warmer. Seriously, that's what he is. Nothing against him. He had that one lucky game in the playoffs a few years ago. And now, he's just a fluke. Don't believe the hype indeed involving Tebow. He's reportedly going to be joining the minicamp for the Pats on Tuesday. So, it's just strange that of all teams to sign Tebow, it's a team who already has a decent quarterback. Not just a decent one, but a great quarterback in Tom Brady. So, Tebow, like I said earlier, enjoy the bench, fucker. Because you're going to enjoy the bench. That's where you're going to be sitting, bitch. Sorry to say that to a Christian, but still. He's a bench warmer. So, there you go. Tebow and the Pats, enjoy the bench. Now, I'm in my Raw preview for tonight. The last Raw before Payback. Type 5 questions that must be answered tonight. Starting with question number 5. What will go down with Fandango? Now, it's just me or is there a lot of people getting concussions these days? First, we had Dolph Ziggler, who is set to return from his concussion tonight. But now Fandango apparently suffered a concussion during his match on SmackDown last week, prompting jeopardy for his match this Sunday, as he is scheduled to compete for the Intercontinental Championship in a triple threat against Miz and Wade Barrett. So, we'll probably find out more about Fandango's condition tonight. So, who knows what kind of effect will it have on that match for this Sunday? Will it be Miz Barrett one-on-one? Or will someone replace Fandango? Who knows? Maybe Jericho. No, Jericho's got Punk. Talk about him in a moment, but in continuing with the concussions theme, question number 4, we will go down with Dolph Ziggler tonight. Now, Dolph Ziggler is scheduled to return to action tonight. Although apparently he's cleared to wrestle. He didn't wrestle over the weekend at house shows. So, are they keeping him safe from getting another concussion before a wall? Today, who knows why Dolph Ziggler didn't wrestle during the house shows over the weekend. But Dolph Ziggler is slated to be on Raw tonight in return. and pumped a match against him and Del Rio for this Sunday at Payback. Speaking of Payback, where new matches be made? Well, we just found out the pre-show match of all things is Sheamus against Vivian Sandow. Wow, a feud has been built for the last couple weeks with segments on SmackDown is now a pre-show match. That is kind of stupid. That Sandow and Sheamus, a feud that's been buzzing on TV, is going to be a pre-show match. Stupid. But hey, at least they did a title match on a pre-show like at Mania. Or Extreme Rules. Question number 3. Will Punk make an appearance before Sunday? Now, CM Punk is, of course, set to return this Sunday to wrestle Chris Jericho in Chicago at Payback. During Jericho's match on Friday against Curtis Axel, CM Punk Steve played distracting Jericho to lose to Curtis Axel. Curtis Axel's first real pin, even though it was once again by cheating. Can Curtis Axel get a clean win without any interference or count out? Anywho, I'll talk about Axel in a moment, but still, we'll see if Punk does make an appearance before the pay-per-view or will he just return at the pay-per-view. Question number 2 will go down between Cena and Ryback tonight as their feud is set to heat up tonight before the 3 Stages of Hell match this Sunday at the pay-per-view with a lumberjack match, table match, ambulance match, best out of 3 fall stipulation match. Now, Cena once again got laid out by Ryback to end Raw last week. As Ryback ruled, yet again, will he rule on Sunday? We'll find out then, but we'll see what kind of message will Ryback send yet again to Cena this evening. Question number 1. Will Triple H wrestle this week against Curtis Axel? Now, last week we saw Vince and Stephanie trying to prevent Triple H from wrestling Curtis Axel on Raw, which never happened. And Triple H said last week that he will be wrestling Curtis Axel tonight. I'm hearing it's all about the storyline for Triple H's retirement. It may be set up for a match actually Sunday at Payback between Axel and Triple H. We'll see, will Triple H wrestle or not, or will Stephanie... I heard Stephanie is at the venue tonight. She will be on Raw tonight to continue its storyline with Triple H and Vince and all that stuff. Even Triple H would have beat up Vince last week. So we'll see what happens tonight. The last Raw before Payback tonight at 8 on USA Network. That is it for the Atakline for today. See you all later for my Raw review this evening. With that in mind, you've been attacked by the news from Zach. See you later. Thank you again for watching. Yeah.